this episode. You can see I've got the van up on this trolley. Somewhat sketch, but it should be fine. It's been on there for a couple of days. I wasn't too keen on moving it that far from the hoist. But I've been playing around with the ride height, well not the ride height, the body height. I've settled at 3 inches, so at the moment it's sitting up 3 inches. So what I've got to do is basically cut those floor sections out. I've made new ones that are like deeper, and then my plan is hopefully to trim along underneath that bead. It's going to depend. I can't remember how I welded that on, if I went to town on it or not. We shall see. And then it's going to depend if I can get a hammer and dolly in behind it as well to line everything up. Front here with the chest tipped down will be alright. The back there, it's pretty thick. So get that white sill bit out first, and move on from there. Now it may look somewhat sketchy, but in fact it's sitting on the frame, on that frame, and then I've got 2 clamps on it, so it should be fine. So I'll jump in, we'll get that all cut away, and we'll work out what we're doing. Rightio, well that decision was made pretty quickly. Has to come up because this post here that the side panel wraps around is fully welded onto this piece that has to come off. So there's the old bit. Now we're just going to make that. Just go through, cut that off nicely, and then yeah, free her up from here, and then we'll get another panel made. Rightio, well I've been through, I've got that all chopped off. The side there's gone, and I sort of realised that the new sort of sill bit, I guess you'd call it, is going to have to go on first before the panel, so I can tie into all this again. So I've got them over here. So got them all into some 2-pack epoxy, and then also the new side pieces, I've got them made. I've got them made with the beads, and then into some epoxy primer on the bits that you're not going to be able to ever get to, and then some weld-free primer along the bottom where I'm going to weld it. So yeah, obviously once it's all welded back on, you're never going to get to those panels again. In theory, I mean, I didn't think I'd be chopping them off when I welded it on the first time, but here I am. So just got to wait for that paint to dry, and then we can start welding it all back together. I mean really, a couple of days work, it's definitely worth it I feel, for a lifetime of headroom in the van. So yeah, we'll wait for that to dry and we'll get stuck in. Rightio, well things are escalating a bit. I've got it off the trolley now, and just on a couple of stands. I really needed to get the tyres out of the way so I could play around with the front. So I've now got everything level and square and like looking really good. So the doors fitting in there good, the beads are lining up along the side of the van. It was a little bit dicky before, but one thing it has uncovered now is, you can see that angle there is on the piss. Now this panel too, you can see it sort of tapers back, and it has always annoyed the piss out of me. So pretty much right at that corner there, I'm going to chop that whole bottom bit off, and then we'll get it all set up so that it lines up with the door, and then we can get this piece in the bottom and everything can be tickety-boo. And then hopefully I can get that coming out on a 90 as well. I'm probably going to have to put a little filler piece in there, up where that corner is, which again, another little bit of extra work, but while I've got the whole thing chopped apart, it's gonna happen. So yeah, we'll get that chopped off, try and realign that so it matches up with the door, and then we can start welding on that new piece. Right, well, not sure where I left off, but I've got that new sill structure's all tacked in. Well, not tacked in, it's fully welded in. Hopefully never ever coming off the van again while I own it. So, next mission now is to get that new lower piece tacked on. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a mission by myself. Just trying to get some clamps and stuff on it. It's a lot easier when it was off the van and on the bench last time. So we'll go through. It's all looking pretty good though. Doors fitting mint. So yeah, we'll go through, get that tacked on, and then we'll be able to start welding her out. Alright, well, just like that, we've got that side, it's all on and welded. It is a bit, I was going to really show up on camera, it's a bit wavy. Hammer and dolly work, but I'm going to get the other side to this point and then get it back up on the hoist, so it's just an easier height to reach up and get the dolly and the hammer and stuff on there. So now, I'm also going to finish that up once it's up in the air as well. So the other side, I got here last night and then shut the door and see what I've got going on there. So I'm going to have to try and pull that front in, get it all lining up with the door again, same as I did the other side, and then we'll get that bottom bit welded in. But I reckon, just looking at this other side, I think by the time we extend the back bit, get that other bit on, it should look pretty good. Obviously, eventually one day there'll be another panel there on the step, so that will tie in and that bead will carry on through, so it won't be bright white. Well, I've been pumping away for a couple of hours now. I've got this sort of lower sill piece attached and welded to the van, and then I've just put this bottom piece on, which I bead rolled up, painted, prepped ready to go on, and I must have cut this side slightly different because you can see it's just not quite long enough. So I was hammer and tongs, it's Friday night, I was just smashing into it, and I was keen to just get that tacked on and welded on tonight, stay up and just get it done. But I'm going to have to remake that piece and paint it and everything before it goes back on, which is a bummer. So that'll be tomorrow morning, which kind of sucks, but it's getting closer. There we go. Well, magic of editing. I've made a new piece, put that on there. You can see it's nice and level with the bottom of that sort of sill step panel there. She's all on there. Oh, just over a week, you know, after work and on the weekend, but I feel definitely worth it. So now I was going to lift it up and get these stands out of the way, and then we'll be able to have a brief look at it on the ground, and then I've got to piss fart around, move the body on the chassis again because it has moved. But I went to rear spares this morning and picked up some body mounts. So I've decided that the next thing I want to do is try and get the body mounted where it's got to go. I'm sick of moving it around. Every time you do something, you go up and down, the body moves a little bit, and you just got to keep playing around with the forklift and moving it back. So I think the next thing I'll be doing is just starting to do a floor. I'm going to start from the back, so do the tubs, work my way forward to the front scary bit, which I still have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do. So we'll get the old forklift and we'll get her up off these stands and get her down, and there it shouldn't really look much different, but it should be different. Also be able to see if all of this actually worked to achieve what I wanted to achieve. It should do, so we'll cut back in a second once she's on the ground. Well, just like that, she is back on the ground. In some places on the ground, my concrete is like whoop-de-doop-de-doop-de. It is not flat at all, but for the most part, she's looking good. So, just played around, and I've got the chassis moved as far forward to get the wheel like nice and sort of centred in the arch there, which is good. I would like to get it a bit further forward, but my chassis there will stick out of the front just a touch too much, I feel. So that is a good compromise, and really if it goes too much further forward, I'm going to have to get a much bigger offset, which I don't really want. I want the wheel filling up as much of the arch as I can. But yeah. Yeah, sure most of you agree that was 100% worth the effort. It took a bit over a week after working on the weekend, but I reckon just having that body on the ground now as well, it looks amazing. So I think next episode I've got those body mounts, so I want to try and get at least half a dozen mounts holding the body onto the chassis. That way it won't move from where it is, and I don't have to piss around with that anymore. And then I think once it's in its set location, I'm going to start building the floor from the back, front, do the wheel tubs, floor, and finally get this bracing out. I really want to get the bracing out. It's been in there for years and it's irritating to walk through, and just getting it out is a bit of a step forward. Yeah, as usual, if you've made it this far, cheers for watching. See you on the next one.